One of the highlights this week was OPEC releasing their long-term report. Secretary General Mohammed Barkindo was pretty optimistic about demand, saying the picture is looking brighter. At the moment, 2020 has an upside potential that may actually surprise the market. But it's not all sunshine and roses, particularly when it comes to supply.
Yeah, and if you look at OPEC's own numbers on market share, they're predicting a drop in their share of the global oil market from 35% to 32% over the coming years. And that is going to be filled in primarily by U.S. shale. They've boosted their figures for what shale should be producing in the U.S. by 40%. So it's a big number. And again, if you're talking about OPEC, it's not simply the production of oil. It's about defending what they have in terms of market share and their ability to move prices.
Right. So you take a look at, say, what they're expecting for U.S. shale. It's a tremendous increase versus other nations, even Saudi Arabia, which just means they're going to have to keep on cutting or at some point fight for market share. What kind of color did we get from the report?
Well, not only from the report, but also from our reporting. We have an OPEC meeting coming up December 5th and 6th. And from what we're hearing, there is not going to be a big push to deepen cuts. And in fact, what they're looking to do probably is either extend for a few months or until the rest of next year the existing production quotas they have in place, which are due to expire in March. So, and the other part of that is that they're really looking for the folks who had agreed to these production quotas to actually abide by them, which for everyone has not been the case. Certainly places like Russia and other allies have not necessarily done everything they promised to do.
And there is still some question, though, if shale can grow the way that OPEC thinks. We'll hear about shale producers in just a second, but there are questions as to if they can deliver. What's going to be next?
I think if you look at what's interesting is OPEC seems to be more optimistic about shale than some shale producers seem to be.
Talking your books.
Yeah, certainly from what we've seen today and some of the earnings calls that we listened to this week, the shale pioneers and the boys who consistently have outperformed are being much more circumspect about their ability to continue to grow at these rates. So OPEC is talking about slowing growth sort of through the middle of the next decade, and then it starts to come down at 2029. The shale folks are saying no, they're being even more optimistic than we would be. Obviously, it's in their best interest to make it seem like there's not much shale happening.